you. Zamboanga del Sur Division, one of the largest divisions in Zamboanga Peninsula, has been the forefront of innovation and
Okay, and good afternoon, everyone. Now we are back for our afternoon sessions, wherein we will have some more of the interesting topics to be presented by our top caliber presenters and facilitators of Araling Panlipunan. So we do hope that everyone had already taken their lunch and in their most comfortable positions to listen to the different topics for this afternoon session. To start with, we will have the topic on the basic principles of radio-based instructions to be given to us by our very own ARPAN, Teacher 3 from uh, Tukuran Vocational uh, Technical High School, in the person of Ma'am Kimberly Claire G. Suarez.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohamar Rendo. Thank you, participants, for still being here in our virtual platform. We're both live and MS Teams and YouTube. Now, are you ready for this? This session is about the radio-based instruction. Now, let's have this. The question is, first one, slide. Next. Okay, the next is, here is the question. What is radio? Radio is a sound communication by radio waves, usually through the transmission of music, news, and other types of programs from single broadcast stations to multitudes of individual listeners equipped with radio receivers. Now here, according to the DepEd Memoir, Aid Memoir, dated April 10, 2021, the proper use of DepEd radio as blended distance learning for the delivery of modality. So what is this about? This is about, according to the Department of Education, they have made the radio-based instruction mainly as one of the options to reach the learners in alternative learning system or ALS program, primarily used as a form of distance learning to teach learners who are unable to attend the face-to-face lesson, or who are in the remote areas. And because of this pandemic, we use this distance learning by the aid of RBI. Radio-based instruction enables them to continue their education despite these challenges. Through the years, radio-based instruction has reached out of school youth, persons deprived of liberty, persons with disabilities, working students, indigenous people, and also farmers and others who are unable to attend the day-to-day class. Now here, accordingly, critical for implementation will be the production of the needed teachers and learners learning materials for the Department Learning Resources portal, and the Department of Education Commons will be maximized, as well as the support of media instructions like TV and radio stations. This is guided by all the call, learn by all means, teach by all means. Blended learning focuses on the learner's development while making use of the available delivery modes to reach learners in different situations across the country. So our task as teachers here in the Department of Education is to reach all the learners across our country. And currently, these are still main areas in the Philippines who do not have internet connectivity. We need to reach them and give them a free cable and satellite television services. Areas that are off-grid cannot use the television and other electrical gadgets. This remain as a big challenge in the delivery of education, even before the pandemic, and the same has been highlighted at this time. The DepEd radio as part of blended learning. In the school year 2020-2021, the Department of Education TV has successfully produced TV episodes under the Office of Undersecretary for Administration and Information and Communications Technology Services Management in collaboration with the Office of Undersecretary and Curriculum and Instruction. Same with the radio-based instruction, highlighted and implemented previous school year. The episodes are aired over the national TV and DepEd social media pages. In our, the DepEd TV and DepEd radio overcome different challenges but still implemented in the Department of Education, especially in our division. Hence, the DepEd TV and radio-based instruction organization from planning, production, assurance, airing to monitoring and evaluation, and also done research must thoroughly adapt. Now here, currently, the DepEd radio makes use of the already established local AMs, FMs radio stations in all areas in the Philippines through partnership with the department's regional and division offices and even schools. Lessons are broadcast over partner radio stations or through ragtag radio stations established in regional or division offices and schools, reaching learners who have no ready access to other learning modalities. So, the nature of educational broadcast. Listen very carefully as this will really highlight the important things you need to remember in crafting the educational broadcast. So here, number one, 1 minute for program opening. If you will do RBIs or radio-based instruction, you need to consider the program opening. What comprise the program opening? It comprise the welcome remarks, the starting point of your radio, as well as includes the subject matter, the code of the subject, and also the competencies of the certain subject being delivered, and as well as the teachers. So you give the prior knowledge of what is the RBI comprised. Then, next, you need to have the 5 minutes breakup or feedback portion. This feedback portion is very important because it gives us the answer of the queries of the previous lesson. So the teachers must take 5 minutes to discuss the previous lesson that being delivered and then give answer to the queries of the learners. Now, review of the previous lecture. This is it. Highlight main idea or the main points of your previous lesson because you need to give that an ample time given to that is 5 minutes. So you have 1 minute for the program opening, 5 minutes for the feedback portion, and 5 minutes for the review of the previous lesson. All in all, you have 11. And by then, you have to consider the 2 to 3 minutes musical break. So after the review of the previous lesson, you will need to play the recorded music or music that is aligned to the content of your lesson to segue the lesson. So you are given 2 to 3 minutes for that. And then 10 to 15 minutes lecture of the day. This includes the content of your lesson. It can either be a dramatic or a non-dramatic format. Now, here, we will have this portion. 3 minutes review of the day's lecture. What is this about? So you need to summarize or have an overall view of your content or the lesson that you deliver in your radio-based instruction. And then 2 minutes for the announcements or reminders. For this announcement and reminders, you need to also consider the other reading materials and other reminders or assignments that you will give to your learners while they are studying at home. And then aside from that, you will also have the closing program or the program closing. For the program closing, you will need to flash again the closing remarks, and then you will mention once again the subject, the learning competencies, and the code of the subject. And also, do not forget to also say what is the name of the teacher that delivering the radio-based instruction. So you are given 30 minutes to craft, or the maximum time to craft an RBI is 30 minutes only. So you need to take note these things, or you have to screenshot there in your screen the things to consider when crafting RBIs. So you need to consider 1 minute for the program opening, 5 minutes for the feedback portion, 5 minutes for the review of the previous lecture, 2 to 3 minutes musical break, 10 to 15 minutes for the lecture of the day, 3 minutes for the review of the day's lecture, 2 minutes for the announcement and reminders, and another last minute for the program closing. Okay. School on Air. What is this about? This can be viewed as a specially designed radio program where the subject matter is presented systematically in a progressive manner with the ultimate goal of achieving desired results under teaching learning situation. The techniques employed by the School on Air are basically instructional, although the broadcasts are not undertaken under classroom condition because we are in the new normal setup. The distance learning modalities that we are implemented because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Instead, the enrollees or students listen in their own homes by themselves or in groups with the health protocols matters. Okay, now, how will you entertain with education? Make sure that your RBI is not a boring one. Have this an entertainment, and at the same time, your learners will really learn at home. Here, the function of believable role model characters as a means of conveying the message and motivating and sustaining change in the audience. The way your mood reflects also what is the outcome of your RBIs. Have a happy heart when making RBIs. And the importance of emotion in the drama for attracting and holding the listener's attention and for inspiring new behavior, because your voice really matters a lot and how will you carry on your character in doing the RBIs. Now let's proceed to the materials broadcast elements. Take note about this, our dear participants. What should we need to consider when having a material broadcast or the elements in the broadcast? First, you must have a music. Music is the key part of any radio program. It is required in the beginning and the end of the episodes of your RBIs. You need to consider the music background as well. It can be either fast, medium, or slow. It really matters when you will do a RBI. Another thing, the second one is the sound effects, such as the wow, the clapping of hands, the laughing, the sounds of an ambulance, busy street effects. It is really important and it really matters that it is clear or it is not bad to hear with the listeners, and it is really clear and really entertaining. Now, let's proceed to the third. The third one is the script. A familiarization, always pre-read the script so that you are familiar with it and do not really go down or just have the script by yourself. Just also do another thing. What is this? Do research, because once you research, you will gain more knowledge on how will you give more entertaining radio-based instructions and get to know the broadcast software and equipments that you are using so that there will be no conflict while you are preparing to accomplish the RBIs. And the fifth one is the mood affects your energy and deliberation. So meaning you must be happy and also attentive in doing the RBIs. No other unnecessary task or job to make so that it will be concluded well. And then time. Have an ample time to prepare. Do not panic and take a management of your time. Now, I will give the tips. What are the tips that our teacher should consider when crafting the RBI? So here is the radio-based instruction tips for us teachers. Now, number one, never be boring. Always have a happy heart, smile, and be positive. With regards to a lot of things that we are making, be positive and be happy all the time. Next, know your audience. Live their life. You need to also familiar what kind of learners that we are teaching. Are we teaching elementary? Are we teaching secondary? Or are we teaching senior high school? Consider the kind of RBI that you are making that is suitable to their level. And then make listeners or the learners feel that they are special. Mention them, give them an applaud or accomplishment so that they will be happy while listening to your RBIs. Now, for number four, be reminded about this. Be authentic. Be realistic. Unique personality of a teacher will always give remarks to the learner. So make a good remark to the learner. Always pre-read the script. Familiarize the script. Read not just once, but many times. And then have something interesting to say. Do not say any words that is not interesting and it make your RBI boring. And then next one, talk to one person, not to the whole audience. When you are making RBIs, take note that you can have all the learners listening at you, but you need to consider that when you are crafting RBI, consider one student that you are talking so that the student or the learners can feel and have a grasp that, oh, the teacher is talking to me and I need to study well. And the voice. Your voice will become your identity in the radio. That's what I said. That you need to also have a modulated voice if it's required for you, that it can be audible for all. And then remember your tone. Be mindful of not only what you say, but how you say it. And the last one, if you want to improve your broadcast, record them and listen to them. Now, guidelines for character creation. How will you create a good character when having the RBI? First one to consider, realistic and believable. They can become more interesting and realistic. However, in their good personality traits, unintentionally land them in trouble. So you need to have a positive mind and positive way that you can do it. Do not hesitate, not be hesitant that you cannot do it. But give yourself a powering energy, a powering tool to make it better. Now, second, appropriate to the message. Characters can be involved naturally and believably with the message of the content. Be appropriate, be specific with it. And another thing, number three, appropriate to the audience. You need to consider, as I've said a while ago, need to consider what kind of learner that your RBI can be a suitable one to the listeners. The audience should recognize the characters, culture, life habits, and general standard of living. And number four, varied in personality. Increase the likelihood that listeners will find at least one character who is similar to themselves or someone they know. You can have it in an RPI, a dramatic or non-dramatic format. So in a dramatic format, you need to also consider what kind of character that you are doing and portraying. So you need to end your RBI with the same manner or same kind of voice. And number five, limit in number. No more than 3 or 4 characters should appear regularly in the main plot and the 2 or 3 in each of the subjects. So if you are doing an RBIs, consider how many teachers are doing it. Do not number your RBI or do not make a lot of extra characters or do not add on extra teachers. At least 3 or 4 is really better. Now here, stages of DepEd radio implementation. Number one, planning. You need to plan before crafting RBIs. This is really important because a product without a plan is not really a good product. Now, script writing. So when you're done doing planning, you do the script writing or you do write the script. And third one, RBI production. So if you complete and you are already done with the script, pre-read about this and ready for the production time. And then when it's already done and quality assured, then the RBI broadcast. And then the monitoring and evaluation will come after. If it really broadcast, if it really done well, then it's very ideal and you will have a very good outcome. Now, radio writing, the principles of writing. What are the things that we need to consider about this? One thought per sentence. People are only half listening most of the time. In broadcast, you have only one chance to say it. Consider your audience comprehension always. Avoid the complex sentence. Make use of the simple words. Example of this also is be conversational of your words that you are using and the things that you are making. Don't think print. Another, avoid jargon. Watch out for more jargon in justice, military and business bits. Avoid fancy metaphors. She is under the weather. Instead of saying that, you must say, she is sick. That is simple, right? Think video. Words should enhance images you are showing. So you need to show, think before writing. Use active voice so that it will become lively, full of energy. The natural order of thought, the subject, the verb, the object. In broadcast, there's always a sense of urgency. Active voices or active voice gives the snap and punch of your writing. So when you are writing your script, make sure that it is really ideal and it is entertaining. Now, example. Instead of using the Freedom of Information Bill was endorsed by the Congress, then use this. The Congress endorsed the Freedom of Information Bill. So that is simple and very entertaining and an active voice already implemented in your script. Now, here. Another one to consider in making a radio script is omit verbal deadwood. Effective writing is concise. Drop unnecessary words from phrases or sentences. So example, instead of using for the reason that, use because. Instead of using at the present time, use now. Instead of using tendered his resignation, you must use resigned. Or instead of using affix his signature, you must really write signed. Or another way around, and united in holy matrimony. Instead of using that, you said married. Use simple words so that listeners can easily understand. Do not make any complex words about that. And use the present tense when you are crafting our RBIs. Broadcast news in general is all about now. It's today, it's the present time. You are reading the news as if it's happening right now. And sources. Be as specific as possible about sources. Make attribution in your report. Need to consider the lead. Go straight to the heart of the story or heart of the content, or instead the heart of the lesson. Example, the jurors in Arroyo electoral sabotage case have made their decision. They found the former president guilty of manipulating the 2014 elections. But use this. Former President Arroyo has been found guilty on electoral sabotage case. That is simple one. Now, broadcast writing. If there is one rule in our broadcast writing, take note. What is the one rule about it? Simplicity. Make your broadcast simple as possible. The simpler, the better. If it's better, then it's really best for everybody. Then, don't confuse or rattle the viewers or listeners. They can only take so much of that or same time. Here is the do's and don'ts of the RBIs. We need to consider this. Now, complex, utilize, proceed, facilitate, contribute, majority, reside, so on. Common, use, go, help, give, must, leave, or call. So if you use utilize, then it's X. You need to use. You can understand it easily. Proceed, so use go. Facilitate, then help. Instead of contribute, then give. If it's majority, then you use the word most. If reside, then you use the word live. And someone, then it can be used the word call. Now, that's all for my RBI instruction topic. So I hope that you really learned a lot of this lesson. Thank you so much and Godspeed.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Kim, my partner, for introducing and discussing to us the basic principles of radio-based instructions.
Thank you so much then, Sir Muhammad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the principles of television-based instruction is our next topic, and this will be discussed by Teacher 1 of Toribio Minor National High School. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Miss Precious Ann Breva.
All right, so good day for everyone. So, once again, I am Precious Ann A. Breva Perocho, and I'll be discussing with you about the basic principle of television based instruction development. Well, we already have a lot of previous webinars that has already been discussing about TVBI. But today we will still be discussing it still because we want ARPAN teachers especially to be encouraged to produce as well TVBI as an aid for our students' learning. And because of this, uh, ARPAN teachers, if we would able to give a try to produce um, TV lesson to our students, especially in this global pandemic, it would be very beneficial to them. So going back from the very first day when we got hit by COVID-19, all face-to-face class sessions was stopped and prohibited. But DepEd envisioned that education must still push through amidst this global pandemic, observing tight health protocols because we want our learners to instill the perseverance and that education should still continue. And then there we adapt the new normal way of teaching, the distance learning modality with the use of learning modules, or the learners modules rather. But not all of our students are fortunate to have someone at their own pace of their home to teach them. Others may able to self-study their lesson, but we need to remember always that what may work for student A may not always work for student B. It's not always one size fits all, and we teacher, we need to see to it that all ends meet, that we would able to teach with equity and equality. And so, best supplementary aid for learners modules is RBI for those who have radio access and TVBI for those who have TV and internet access. So for our objectives today, first is to determine the benefits of television-based instruction. Second, encourage teachers encourage teachers to produce TVBI as supplementary material to our learners. And third, utilize TVBI as an aid to our learners in their learning modality amidst global pandemic. Okay, so Before I start with my discussion, let's have a quick throwback from the TV shows that we love to watch during our younger years. So I'll be playing a short audio clip. So I will be playing each of them and you will guess from what educational TV show it is. Kindly make use or drop your answers in the comment box. Okay, let's play the first one.
Bawat bata may tanong.
Ba't ganito? Ba't
Hayaang buksan ang isipan.
sa science o agham? Eskwela.
Okay, so can you guess from what educational TV show that first audio clip we have just played? If you had answers in escuela, then you are definitely correct. Okay, let's go to the second one.
Awang nang nakuo ng unang mama sa kananak.
Okay, for that second audio clip, can you guess? That is anchored to our subject ARPAN from educational TV show Bayani. Okay, let's go to the third one.
Di mo ba napapansin? Mga bulaklak ay magkakawangis, mga dahon ay magkakahugis.
Okay, that third one. Yes, that is Martinique. Okay, and the last one.
Halin ang
Okay,
tayog na
that last audio clip is one of our well-loved educational TV also. That is Hiraya Manwari. Okay, so if you had guessed all of those audio clip with the correct TV shows from exactly what TV show they are from, well, congrats. And it seems like you are not getting aged that way yet, no? So why are we still trying to discuss these educational TV shows? Well, going back to our younger years, this serves as our these are our well-loved educational TV shows that we always fun to watch in our TVs, of course. We have Hiraya Manowari and Once Upon a Time that anchored with GMRC or Good Manners and Right Conduct. And did you know that Hiraya Manowari is derived from the ancient Tagalog means reaching your dreams? We also have Sinescuela for science, Mathinic for mathematics, Batibot, and Apple Apple for English. Okay, now let us discuss this time what are the benefits of educational television, right? TV can help child's intellect. Well, in many studies, researchers have observed how educational programs can aid in boosting children's intellect. Surprisingly, age 2 to 7 who watch a few hours of educational television programs per day perform better on academic tests than those who didn't watch TV. They also found children who spent most of the television time watching shows like cartoons scored lower than those who viewed educational ones. Therefore, it is important to monitor what your children are watching. and show them educational programs opposed to simply letting them watch cartoons. Okay. Now, the second one, TV can show children things that would see otherwise. Without television, most children would never be able to see amazing things like exotic animals, different cultures, and beautiful cities. For example, nature shows and history programs are great resources for teaching children about creatures and places that they've never heard of. Kids can learn from this type of media in order to appreciate and understand the world around them, especially during this global pandemic. Children are not allowed to go out and wander around. But good thing is that with television, they would still able to visualize what is existing outside. Okay? So, next, TV can provide good role models for children. When children watch television, they are bound to influence by the characters they see. Allowing your children to watch shows with characters who promote positive messages like healthy living and helping others will influence them to make good choices. Next, students are able to see current events as they are happening. It is always and also great for children to expose them, especially in watching news for awareness in our surroundings. Surprisingly, even the young ones are already aware by just watching TV that going out is not safe. And they already know and aware as well what are the must have with them when they are going out from their houses, which is a mask and other tight health protocols. And of course, TV provides visual and auditory presentation, right? So, in my next slide, I have here an audio clip that I would like you to, I would like you to guess from what or where exactly you have heard this. Okay. Are you familiar with that audio clip? Can you try to guess it? Oh, well, that audio clip that we have just played is our official OBB or opening billboard of DepEd TV. And this is how exactly it looks like with a video. Okay, let's play it. Okay, so that is the actual video of our OBB or official billboard opening of DepEd TV. Now, whenever you hear that video clip, you should able to you should be aware of that what we are going to watch or what is playing uh, is a TVBI or television based instruction made by DepEd TV. Okay. Now, television based instruction. So, TVBI is one of the DepEd's learning modalities along with the radio-based instruction, online and modular learning in the absence of face-to-face learning due to COVID pandemic. Television is a great way to open your child's mind to a variety of things and help them learn about topics that may not be exposed to at school. On the other hand, television can reinforce what children learn in school and provide a supplementary method to teaching children about important subjects. So what is the role of a teachers in the TV? Okay. One. So as the role of a teacher, television teachers are important at both ends of the telecast. They stand in the middle of the learning process, either projecting knowledge or aiding in direction. Synthesis and comprehension of knowledge already acquired. So just the same with the face-to-face class session, uh, it's just really the same with the face-to-face class sessions. The only difference is that we are not uh, facing our children, but we are facing the camera, which will be uh, for the production of our TVBI. Now, what are the qualities of a good TVBI teachers? Of course, you need to be confident with a positive mindset. That goes a long way. So even though how good you are and creative in communication, if you are not that confident, you may not able to uh, perform well your role as a TVBI teacher. So first and foremost, you must be confident. Even if it's your first time to be a TV talent or TVBI teacher, you need to act like as if it's not your first time. Okay. So next is good and creative in communication skills. So not only good, but creative in communication. So this may also be referred to ad-libs that you may also use during the production of TVBI. Again, ad-libs are accepted to add color and for you to sound more entertaining and not boring. Just see to it that you may not able to overuse your ad-libs. And of course, as a TVBI teacher, you need to sound friendly and accommodating. So if you were able to hit these first three of the qualities, then your TVBI output will surely be engaging to your learners. Now, what is video production? By the way, there are three stages in a video production: pre-production, production, and post-production. Now, what is pre-production? Pre-production is when the seed of your video is planted. In short, this involves identifying your goals and audience, crafting the initial video concept, and practical planning such as budget, set, and actors. For pre-production, this is also considered as planning. Now, during pre-production, of course, you need also to determine your team. So these are TVBI teacher, TV talent, script writer, director, cameraman, video editor, makeup artist, and graphic artist. Well, ideally, every individual of this team should handle one role, but sometimes it is also not limited for one person to handle two roles for this team. Like for an example, the script writer at the same time can also be a director. The video editor at the same time can also be the graphic artist. And the TVBI teacher at the same time, if she or he already have the skills for beautifying them, her or himself, then he can already be the makeup artist as well. Okay, now for the pre-production, we need to set goals. So what are the goals that we need to consider? Of course, the lesson that we will going to shoot for our TVBI. So what will be the target lesson are we going to have? What is the target duration, or how many minutes are we going to have for our TVBI? Take note that in having or planning for TVBI, it should not be more than 30 minutes. 20 minutes is acceptable, but more than 30 minutes is not. Okay? And the message, planning, during the planning stage for your TVBI, you need to see to it the message of what you're planning to have for your as your output is clear to your audiences. And for the audience, see to it that uh, going back to the message, the language or the script is suited to the grade level of your audience. Like for an example, if it's grade 7, then see to it that it is also comprehensible for grade 7 students. Okay, and then the location. As for the location, we also need to see that the planned location where we are going to have the production of our TVBI is not destructive. And next, script and storyboard. So this is also important. Script, because script is already considered as the major planning of the entire production, which is we will going to discuss that as we progress, and the checklist. Okay. So for script writing is planning for the entire production. They said it is already 70% of the work. There are actually three types of script: the narrative, production, and the storyboard. Narrative is solely be utilized or can be utilized only by the TVBI teacher or by the TV talent, while the production script can be utilized both by the technicals. When I say technicals, this already can be utilized by the cameraman, video editor, and also as guide for the director. And at the same time, can also be used by the TVBI teacher. So the another type for the type of script is the storyboard, which can be utilized by the video editor and graphic artist. This storyboard is mainly more about visualizing or editing the certain the video or the output of that video. So there are actually approaches in developing script: the straight narration or teacher, you, documentary, dramatic, dialogue, abstract, or symbolic. Now, what is straight narration or teacher? This includes narration of the facts and messages in straightforward manner, most formal and basic way of presenting the subject matter. So when we talk about straight narration approach, this is more about the most formal way of presenting the lesson. Like for an example, good morning class, I am Miss Perocho and I'll be your teacher for today. Our lesson for today is all about economics. So that is a good example for straight narration. So there is no any other ad libs, just formally presenting the subject matter. Next, we have dramatic. It consists of characters depicting various roles. Presentation has a climax or anticlimax and a resolution. So what is this all about? In this kind of approach, you dramatize your presentation. So there will be characters involved for this. Next is you. Audiences are addressed directly by the word you. Script is written as if the writer is talking directly to the viewer. So what is this approach? For example, The teacher will say, natapos nyo na bang gawin ang unang gawain? Ngayon naman, dumako tayo sa pangalawang gawain. Handa na ba kayo? So the teacher is assuming that he or she is talking to the student. Well, in fact, the teacher is only facing the camera. Now we have dialogue approach. The basic element is conversation. So lesson is presented by one or more person through a conversation. Like for an example, let's have Mom Kim. Okay, so I'll be telling to Mom Kim, Kim, did you know alam mo ba yung mga sinaunang taon noong mga sinaunang tao? And then Kim will going to answer, ano-ano ba yun? So that is already how the flow of presenting your lesson through dialogue approach. Okay? And then documentary approach. This is a combination of approaches with the use of voice clips, sound effects to make the presentation more realistic and credible. So this is very applicable for ARPAN lessons. We need to present to them videos or realistic pictures so that it would be credible also to our students. And for them also to have a realistic idea or images how exactly it looks like. And the last we have abstract or symbolic approach. Ideas may not be stated explicitly, and audience makes own interpretation of the information presented. Good for the arts but not for scientific and technical information. This could also be applicable and best to use for arts in MAPE, because sometimes in arts, they can make use of an image, and then the learners will be the one who's going to interpret what is their interpretation out from that image or out from that abstract image or the symbolic or that certain symbol. Okay? Now, let's go and discuss about the composition of the script. All right. So as you see, that is how the production script looks like. Okay. So we have here that for a script, it must be in a short size pen paper. Font size is Arial. Font style is Arial, and the size is 12 and must be double space. So looking at our slide, at the top, we have here the indication for the learning area, grade level, quarter, the title, and the most essential learning competency. Okay, and you will able to see as well the table, which we will going to discuss it here. Okay, so in the table, we have 3 columns. The first column is the line number. The second is the video and audio column, which is both a copy black. And at the top right is the page number. So that is the how exactly the production script looks like. So again, 3 columns. First column is for the line number, second is for the video, and the third one is for the audio. All right. Now, as for instructions to technical, must be set in bold and must be underlined. Same with the presentation that I have. As you see in the video column part, the technical, which is the insert OBB, again, the OBB stands for opening billboard for that TVBI, and nor to come one panning left. So that is the technical. So to easily identify the technical guides, it should be set in bold and underlined. And as for the audio also, for technical guide, it must also be set in bold and underlined. Okay? So what are the technicals? So this could be for the video, the technical side for the video is giving the guide for the cameraman, director, and the director, as well as for the video editor on how should the TVBI teacher project in front of the camera. Like for example that we have in our slide, nar to come one, meaning the teacher must look or must face the camera one, panning left. And for the video editor, the technical guide is medium shot, meaning for that certain storyboard, in editing that certain storyboard, it should be in a medium shot. And also, copy block must be in sentence. Okay? Now we also have here instructions to the TV talent must be in all capital letters and must enclosed in a parenthesis, like the one that I have in my slide. So, looking at the NAR, there is an open close parenthesis for smile. So that indicates that the teacher must smile before delivering the lines, which is the magandang araw sa inyong lahat, lalo na sa aking mag-aaral sa Paaraling Panlipunan 10. So, and after delivering that lines, there is another open and close parenthesis which guides the teacher to emphasize the name of the program. So that is how you will go into detail the instructions to the TV talent in your production script. And from those previous slides that I have presented, of course, there are elements of a TVBI instructions. These are the content, actor, performance, technical, and time. Now, where can we exactly find these elements out from the production script sample that I have presented to you? So here it is. As for the technical, it's the one that is in bold and underlined, both for video and audio. And the time. So for the time, this is an indicator of how many seconds or how long the OBB will be played. And the actor element is the TVBI teacher or the TV talent. The content is the competency which we can find it from our milk. And the performance, of course, how the teacher will going to deliver lines and other guideline on how the teacher will going to say it or deliver it. Okay? And this is how you're going to end your production script. At the before the last part of the insert CBB, again, the CBB, if we have OBB, we also have CBB. The CBB stands for closing billboard. So before that portion, we put the closing billboard, we need also to indicate the end, which is exactly what in my slide. So that's how you're going to end your script, and for the next cell will be the insert CBB, which will be the guideline for the video editor that ends already the TVBI, and it's time, and that's the portion where they will going to put the CBB. Okay, now if in our face-to-face class sessions we have lesson planning, It's quite also the same with TVBI. There is also a structure that must be observed as well. So we in TVBI production, we need also to detail the objective and the significance. So there is also an option to this. If you prefer uh, to have first the significance before objective, you can have that as well. And also the guide questions on which that follows the flow of your presentation. The AV package, which will be discussed on the next slide. Um, Summary and assessment. So that is the structure for the TVBI script. Okay, so where are the four A's in this portion? So as I have mentioned earlier, so objective, significance, and then guide questions. The AV package, this includes the activity, analysis, and abstraction. So for the AV package, these are the content of the learner's module, okay? As well as the summary. This can also be in the found in the learner's module together with the application or assessment. I would like also to highlight that during the production of your TVBI, you need also to mention from what page you are discussing about, so that when the learners are watching your video, they would able to follow as well from what page they need to look at with their learners module. Okay, so that is the four A's. If there are four A's in the lesson plan, then there should also be four A's in our TVBI output. Okay, script script writer's workflow. So we have here draft script, content check, technical check, and finalized script. For the draft script, this is where we compose our script. And then for the content check, this could be checked with the quality assurance team. So just like what we had before, when we made our script for TVBI, we had the quality assurance team to check the content. And then we have the higher level for the quality assurance team for technical check. Should there be any corrections, it must be complied so that the script will be finalized and good to go for production. Okay. So there is actually principles in writing for broadcast. First, it should be brief, clear, precise, and concise. And second, must be personalized. Third, be informal and conversational so that it will be engaging to our learners. Be readable. Observe one idea, one sentence rule to avoid confusion to our students. Use transition words. Repeat the message if necessary. Provide phonetic spelling for unfamiliar words or jargon because they are not familiar with that. So we need to spell it in phonetics to our learners. Use abbreviations or acronyms sparingly and properly. And also, handle figures properly. Next, let's have a discussion about types of shots. Now, a shot list, or in filmmaking and video production, a shot is a series of frames that runs for an uninterrupted period of time. Film shots are essential aspect of a movie where angles, transitions, and cuts are used to further express emotions, ideas, and movements. Shots are building blocks of film, and shot selection has a significant impact on the way a viewer interprets the action on screen. So commonly, the type of shots that we use is wide shot, medium shot, close up, and extreme close up. Okay, now what is wide shot? A wide shot is also referred to as long shot. It's a camera angle that shows the entire object or person and their relation to what surrounds them. A shot taken from a distance using a wide focal length lens. So when are we going to use wide shot? It is when you're showing the scope of a world or environment around a character. Okay. So the next type of shot that we have is medium shot. It is also called as mid shot or waist shot. It is a type of camera shot in a film and television that shows an actor approximately from the waist up. And a medium shot is used to emphasize both actor and surroundings by giving them equal presence on screen. So when are we going to use medium shot? It is when in mid-conversation or in the middle of the discussion. When we use medium shot, we need to see to it that there is a headroom on top of the head. Next, we have close-up. Close-up is a photograph or movie shot taken of a subject or object at close range intended to show greater detail to the viewer. So when are we going to use close-up? It is when attempting to convey a specific and important emotion or feeling. Okay. Next, we have extreme close-up. So if we have close-up, we also have extreme close-up. So for this type of shot, it is a more intense version of the close-up, usually showing only the subject's eyes and another part of their face that needs to be exposed. Okay, so next, so we're done with the pre-production or planning. Now let's move on the second part of the production, which is production. So for the production, this is the stage of a production where you shoot your videos in front of the camera. This is the stage where you finally get to make the video that's been in your hand for weeks, possibly even months. Well, going back to the pre-production, we need to be enlightened that making a script is not as that easy. It may take a number of days or weeks, especially for the production type of script, because you need to involve not only the TVBI teacher and the scriptwriter, but also the technical committee. Okay? Again, the production is also considered as the shooting of your TV lesson. Now, what are the things that must be considered during the production? Of course, the equipment that you'll be going to use. For indoor, you always have the option to have green screen video shoot, which is exactly what we are also using today. Lighting is also very important for a good quality filming of the video. And also the camera and the microphone. The time must also be considered, especially if you are planning or you had planned to have it outdoor. We need to consider also the time where it is not yet noisy, when there are at a certain time when there is no noise, to avoid distraction during the production of the video. And of course, the health and safety of all the personnel. Okay, post-production. So this is where you edit your videos. Post-production usually involves picture editing, sound editing, adding music, visual effects, words, and graphics, and the creation of various shorter video such as a trailer of a version of for social media. We need to keep in mind that a 30 minutes video is not being edited only for 30 minutes as well. It may take also number of days and weeks or longer. So these are the user-friendly apps for video editing if you're going to use your cell phones. So if you're planning to have your video editing through your mobile, see to it that you have a large capacity in your memory. So we have here KineMaster, Filmora, and Power Director. For apps for video editing, these are the Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects. Now, for those teachers who'd like to have an idea or grasp some concept about how to produce their TVBI, you may always feel free to search for the official page of DepEd TV official page of DepEd TV in YouTube and click subscribe. Now, there are things to remember. In TVBI, you are talking to your audience face to face. So you need to assume that even though you are facing the camera, you must deliver your lines like as if you are talking to your audience face to face. And it is okay to commit errors during the production or how many takes would it take for that certain storyboard. That is okay. Ad-lib is accepted to create color on your topic. And last, remember that you are teaching and entertaining at the same time. A philosopher once said, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is one that is most adaptable to change. So once again, that ends my discussion about the basic principle of the TVBI development. So this is again Precious Ann Bravas from the Review Minor High School. I hope you learned something about me today in this discussion. Thank you so much. Keep safe.
Thank you so much, Miss Precious and Breva, for a well-profound discussions.
And today, we are grateful to have Mr. Al R. Pastor, Master Teacher 1 of Mixalip National High School, to discuss to us the topic about how to prepare learning activity sheets based on the ADM materials.
To our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Marani M. Jacinto, CISO 6. Our two Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, Dr. Raymond M. Salvador, CC, and Dr. Romeo M. Daligdig. To our CID Chief, Dr. Jalit A. Magallanes, and the Chief of the SGOD, Dr. Ernesto Tardo, and to the most amazing mother of Team ARPAN na punong-puno ng fun, our beautiful and motherly education program supervisor, Dr. Alma Laput Carbonilla, and to the rest of the education program supervisors in all learning areas. My co-facilitators, the ITO principals, school heads, technical working group, to the subject coordinators, and to all the teacher participants, and above all to the Heavenly Father above. Have a healthy afternoon to all of us. Please allow me to present to you my topic. This is all about the Learning Activity Sheets, or LES. The objectives of this training is to orient the writers and evaluators on the prescribed template, specifications, and workshop-based learning activity sheets, and to equip the learning activity sheets development team with the needed knowledge, skills, and positive attitudes toward producing most essential learning competencies-based learning activity sheets for learners used in the different teaching delivery modalities. What is activity sheet? The Learning Activity Sheet, or LES, is self-directed instructional materials aimed to guide the learners in accomplishing activities at their own pace and time, using the contextualized resources in the community. Learning Activity Sheets, or LES, is one of the most essential in guided activity with a corresponding series of instructions, directions, of which our young learners, our students, can easily grasp, comprehend, and can easily perform. form the series of activities because the learners are really guided and motivated of what would be the things that they are going to undertake without any pressure using the contextualized resources in the community. This is all about the overview, parts, and template of the Department of Education Learning Activity Sheets or LES. LES shall be utilized by learners during the home learning sessions. It will be very applicable for this school year, the new normal times. The content of this presentation was retrieved from the teacherteach.com DepEd Learning Activity Sheets. I know that majority of the participants have already oriented on this, and some are writers especially in crafting and making LES. These LES serve as supplementary activities or additional activity given to our students or learners, especially those students who got a low scores or yung may mababang performance in a specific learning area or subject areas. So paano po ba gumawa ng learning activity sheets gamit ang isang uniform template na ibinaba ng Department of Education. So please keep on watching my presentation. Relative to the implementation of new normal for the school year 2021-2022, the development of the learning activity sheets or LES shall be based on the most essential learning competencies or MELC issued by the central office. I know that all of us are very much familiar with these most essential learning competencies or MELC. So out of these learning competencies that we have from our curriculum guide, or this is also known as CG, ay binabawasan yun at kinukuha na lamang yung most essential learning competencies or MELC. At doon tayo magbe-base sa paggawa ng LES na ibibigay natin sa ating mga estudyante. Case stage 1. This belongs to grades 1, 2, and 3. Learning areas shall be prepared by their own respective SDOs based on their mother tongue base used as methods of teaching. Preparation of the case stage 2 for grades 4, 5, and 6. And key stage 3 for junior high school, grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. And key stage 4 for senior high school for grades 11 and 12. It shall be based on the grade distribution per grade levels. So because of this, we teachers are being required to make these learning activity sheets aside from the module that being introduced to our students or to our learners. What is the importance of learning activity sheets? For the learning facilitator, the learning activity sheets will help you facilitate the teaching learning activities specified in each most essential learning competency or MELC, with minimal or no face-to-face encounter between you and learner. This will make available to the learners with the references, links to the independent learning. So to the teachers, this ALS is one of the most essential part of these pandemic times. Bakit? Because the most important part of the teacher is to always make a follow-up to our learners and also to their parents. We need to have contact numbers or even make a certain group chats or any platforms to ensure that we're always connected with our learners. always make a follow-up to check always the progress of our students. With these interventions, we can always provide appropriate information with them and guide them everything what is intended to give to them. And the next slide is, what are the parts of the DepEd learning activity sheets? So by this time, I will introduce to you the different parts in making our learning activity sheets. First is heading. Heading, so ano ba ang mga nilalaman ng heading na importanteng i-fill in ng ating mga estudyante? We have the name of the learner, complete name required them to write. Next is the grade level, section, and date. This is very important that our students need to fill in this heading part of the learning activity sheets. For us teachers, easily give the corresponding scores in a certain learning activity sheets na ating ibinibigay sa kanila. So ito po ang kabuuan ng nilalaman ng heading. So this is the first part of making our learning activity sheets. And of course, we need to write also the date or yung pizza. The next part of making LES is what we call as the content. The most important part is the content. Ito po talaga ay pag-isipan ng mabuti ng mga teachers na gumagawa ng learning activity sheets. Kung paano niya gagawin ang content. So the title of the activity should be based on the or most essential learning activities, of which our lessons are being taken on topics na gagawan talaga ng learning activity sheets. And we have also the background information of learners. So we need to have a brief discussion of the lesson. If possible, cite examples. This is also known as abstraction or what to process. Example, nanaling palipunan. Kung maaari, iwasan natin ang shortcuts, please be detailed or please be specific in giving our examples. It should be step by step so that our learners are guided of what would be the things that they need to do. The next part of making LAS, we have number 2, learning competency with code. Refer to the curriculum guide and or a pivot for A. Go and look for the most essential learning competences. MELCs can be identified through the number of assigned to it. In getting the learning competency code, we just need to copy the learning competency from the pivot for a budget of work. At kung wala doon, ka-indicate na copy, pwede tayong mag-refer sa ating curriculum guide or CG. And that is very important that we are strictly follow the most essential learning competences and the total number of days being taught or introduced. Of course, the total number of days po siya tinuturo, ganun din i-answer ang ating mga estudyante gamit ang learning activity sheets. And the third part in making our learning activity sheets, we have directions or instructions. It is important to make your directions or instructions clear and concise to the learners for their independent learning. Take note po mga kapwa ko guro, this is homeschooling and independent learning. Kapag nasa school tayo, kapag nagbibigay tayo ng instructions, we keep on repeating twice or even thrice upon giving our instructions to our learners. The purpose is to make it sure that our learners or our students grasp or totally klaro ba sa kanila at naiintindihan kung ano ang dapat nilang gawin based on the instructions given coming from the teachers. Most especially ngayon, na sa bahay lang sila, so we really make it sure that the direction or the instruction given to them ay mas klaro pa sa sikat ng araw. Bakit po? para mas madali nilang maintindihan at madali nilang itong masasagutan. Tama po ba? And the fourth part in making our learning activity sheets, we have exercises or activities. Make your activity engaging and interesting. We have different kinds of exercises or activities that our students or learners enjoy while learning even at home. Sa parte pong ito po din ang isa sa pinaka-importante parte ng learning activity sheets. Halimbawa, napansin ng ating estudyante sa mga activities na ipinapasagawa natin sa kanila ay pabalik-balik na. Example, find the missing word o kung ano-ano pang klaseng mga gawain of which ang bata ay parang nabuburingan na sa pagsagot sa naturang gawain kasi nga pabalik-balik na ibinigay ni teacher. So therefore, nawawala na ng gana ang ating mga estudyante. So ano po ba ang dapat nating gawin upang ito ay maiwasan? Una, gawin nating napaka-exciting ang mga gawain na ipasagawa natin sa kanila. Pangalawa, lagyan ng twist yung makabago naman na kung saan mas maging agresibo ang ating mag-aral sa pagsagot sa naturang gawain. Pangatlo, we can also introduce to them reward system. Ito po ay isang intervention na kung saan may kayat natin ang ating mga mag-aral na gumawa ng bagay-bagay na mas doble or triple pa ang effort because of this reward system. Di ba? Sino na po dito sa atin ang nagagawa ng ganitong intervention? So sa gawain o activities ay bibigyan natin ng nagdepende na yan, no? Depende na yan sa atin kung ano ang ating ibibigay sa kanila. Pero meron pa ring isang problema, especially pag yung estudyante natin might felt difficult if they don't have their parents na mag-assist sa kanila or even guardians or even homies sa bahay. So ito po ay nagkakaroon ng epekto sa ating mga estudyante. Bakit po? Kasi nga, walang mag-a-assist kanila sa bahay or kung sino man. So that is why they might felt difficult if they don't have their parents. Kaya nga, we will make it more enjoyable and exciting, especially on the activities introduced to them. So that is for the exercises and activities. So gawin po nating mas exciting yung mga activities na ibibigay natin in making our learning activity sheets. And the next is guide questions if necessary. It is essential that our learning activity sheets has guide questions. It is another form of assessment on how much they have learned with the lesson. It provides an assessment, learners' knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values. One way of assessing our students is by giving an open-ended questions or guide questions. More or less, para maiwasan ang labis na kopyahan based on experience for 1 year in operation, no, upon giving our modules or our learning activity sheets, para ma-assess ng maayos ang ating mga estudyante. Dapat subjective ang pagsagot nila nito. Halimbawa, how did you find our activity? Would you able to answer all the activity given? Saang part kayo nahihirapan? Anong techniques ang ginawa ninyo para masagot ang mga katanungan? So just like that questions, so by means of guide questions, we will be able to assess our learners or our students. This is also analysis. The guide questions of which we can determine our students how they understand, comprehend with regards to the certain topics given to them. In the sixth part of making our learning activity sheets, we have a rubric for grading. This rubric for grading will assist students' performance for work. It is important in the grading process for both teachers and students for consistent and fair assessment and grading. This rubric will allow the students to reflect on their work and focus on how to improve in the future. Not all time paper pencil type po ang ating ibibigay sa ating mga estudyante. Rubric could be a holistic or even analytic. It could be a rubric coming from the teachers or coming from the internet that could also be modified. Sometimes, in giving our learning activity sheets, it could be a performance task because it would be consistent and fair in giving our judgment or even our assessment in giving their points or grades based on the given rubric. A rubric helps our learners to perform well because they are much aware and oriented the details stipulated on the rubrics. They are much more guided on a particular or specific task they are going to undertake. This will also help them to improve and reflect that next time around, our students will do the best that must always anchored to the given rubrics so that our students will get the highest point scores if possible. This will help also lessen the doubts or even raising of questions by our students why they got such scores without any basis. So because of these rubrics, everything would be put in place in order, fair, and just. The next part of making our learning activity sheets, we have the so-called reflection. The use of reflective learning embedded in a multimodal assessment. And it should not only direct feedback process, but also promote personal reflection processes where learners reflect more on their knowledge, skills, attitudes, values, aspirations, and actions has contributed in making the society a better place for all. This allows learners to think about what they have taught, read, seen, done, and learned by relating these concrete concepts to their own lives. Reflection is a self-explanatory course. In every activity, there is always values integration. This is to ensure that our learners see the real application on the certain topic, on a real life situation. So napakalaga talaga ng reflection sa bawat activity na binibigay natin sa kanila. And the eighth part of making our learning activity sheets, we have references for learners. Learning materials are important because they can significantly increase students' achievement by supporting student learning. So I think this is also very important. Napakahalaga talaga ang references for learners kasi ito ay magsusupport sa kanilang studies, most especially kung walang mag-assist sa kanila like their parents, guardians, or even housemates. Kaya napakalaki ng role ng paggawa ng learning activity sheets or LES para sa ating mga estudyante. Kapag modular, kasi ito ay limited lamang ang resources katulad ng module or learning package or any available materials at home na pwedeng magamit sa ating mga estudyante. Blended, online, ito ay napakalaking tulong, especially on educational websites or even tutorial videos in YouTube na nauso ngayon na mas madali na matutunan ng ating mga estudyante. Advantage on the part of our learners na mayroong gadgets like smartphones, tablet, laptop, etc. and even internet connections. Yun nga lang, hindi lahat ay may kapasidad na makaprovide. Kung kaya, ito po ay isa sa pinakamalaking hamon sa ating mga kapwa o guro na tayo po talaga ay gumawa mismo ng learning activity sheets serves as a supplementary materials na ibibigay sa ating mga estudyante. And the next part, in making our learning activity sheets, we have the so-called answer key. According to research, the use of answer key affects the learning of math for academically weak students. Answer keys, especially ones that include the steps used to arrive at the answer, would potentially improve the learning of math, as it would provide students with a model solution that could access in order to learn how to solve questions that they might not otherwise have been able to complete. It is also the same thing with other subjects. Why do we need to put our answer key on our learning activity sheets? Para po ba ito ay kopyahin at makakuha ng mataas na sagot ng ating mga estudyante? Ano po ba ang role ng isang answer key? Bakit kailangan nating ibigay sa ating mga estudyante? At paano tayo mag-provide ng answer key? Ang pagbibigay ng sapat na answer key ay isang basihan upang ang ating estudyante ay maisatama ang kanilang mga sagot. This is also a matter of reflection, so that on the next time around, the moment they will answer a certain activity or exercises, most especially in aling palipunan, mapupunan na nila ng tama at mali at mas lalo pa nilang gagalingan sa susunod na pagkakataon upang maiayos ang tamang sagot. Kaya lang, meron akong napupunang maliit na problema nito. Bakit? Sa kadahilan ng ang ating mag-aral ay ayaw na nilang bumasa, bagkus sila po ay dumidiretso na sa answer key at doon na po nagtatapos ang lahat. This is quite alarming, di po ba? Napupuna po ba natin mga kapwa ko guro? Pinaghirapan yata ni teacher natin ang paggawa ng modules or even learning activity sheets. At ganun-ganun na lang time and effort and money ang involved dito po mga kapatid. Ano kaya ang posibleng dahilan? Saan kaya ang problema? Si DepEd gumastos ng milyon-milyon para lang maibigay kung ano ang dapat para sa mga bata. Di ba? Saan kaya ang problema ngayon? Wala po akong sinisisi ha. Baka yung mga modules or learning activity sheets na nakatambak lang, hindi na igalaw ni teacher, wala joy check-check, or hindi rin sinabmit ni bata, pira lang sa mga guro na weekly binabalik yung modules or learning activity sheets na kanilang mga estudyante na gumagawa talaga. Yung mga teacher na tipong gumagawa ng tracking report and always keep making follow-ups sa kanilang mga estudyante, I do really appreciate and salute those kind of teachers. Doon pa lang, motivated na po ang ating estudyante na gumagawa talaga ng mga gawain na ibinigay natin sa kanila. Sa pamamagitan ng learning activity sheets, if weekly po siya na-check at naibalik sa mga estudyante, paano yung unreturned answered modules or LES? How would we assess them? Ano pong marka ang pwedeng maibigay natin sa ating mga estudyante? No? So, papasok na po doon ang magic system. Kung kaya't, ito po ay isang napakalaking hamon po sa ating lahat. Napaka-importante po talaga ng answer key. Dito po natin masusubok ang angking taglay ng ating mga estudyante. Makikita ang answer key sa last part ng ating learning activity sheets at ito po ay nakabaliktad mismo para hindi madaling makita ng ating mga estudyante. And lastly, ito na po, we need to write the name of the writer. So prepared by, sa baba, name of the writer. So this is the last part of the learning activity sheets template. So by this time, i-summarize natin ang parts of the DepEd learning activity sheets. We have ito po, a uniform template. We have DepEd learning activity sheets or LES sample template. We have the name of the learner, pangalan, na-discuss ko na po yan kanina, that will serve as our heading, grade level, section, and learning activity sheet or gawaing pagkatuto, and this is the title of our LES. First, we have the background information for learners, or panimula, susing konsepto, or this is brief discussion of the lesson if possible, cite examples. Sinabi ko kanina that on this part, we need to cite our examples and we must be specific or even i-detalye po natin ang pagbibigay ng examples on this first part, no? Sa background information for learners. Number 2, we have learning competency with code or kasanayang pampagkatuto at kuda. So, saan po natin kukunin ang ating learning competency code? Of course, on our curriculum guide or sa most essential learning competencies. The third one, we have directions, instructions, or panuto. So, as I said, we make it sure that upon giving a certain direction, instructions, or panuto, gawin nating klaro para mas madaling maintindihan at para mas madaling masagot ng ating mga estudyante. Fourth, we have exercises, activities, and pamaraan. So dito po papasok ang lahat ng mga gawain na gusto po nating ipagawa sa ating mga estudyante. Take note, as much as possible, gawin nating mas yung more of fun yung mga activities natin para po ang ating mga estudyante mas lalo nating mahikayat at hindi po sila mabuboring upon answering those activities na introduce natin sa kanila. And fifth, our guide questions if necessary. 6, we have rubrics for scoring. So this will be their basis upon giving our points to them. So diniscuss ko na po ito kanina. In 7, we have reflection and pangwakas. So on this part, there will be a so-called values integration, no? At the end of activity, there should be a reflection. 8 part, we have references for learners, mga sanggunian. And 9, the answer key or susi ng pagwawasto. And the last part is, don't forget to write the name of the writer. So for example, kung isa lang ang writer, so ikaw lang talaga ang just affix your name, or if there will be 2 writers, so kayong dalawa ang ilalagay, in making our learning activity sheets. So we have here our LES sample template. I guess hindi ko na po ito babasahin. I just only show this one. This is the learning activity sheet on Arling Panlipunan 7. The title of this LES is Mga Sinaunang Kabihasnan sa Asya. So we've been following all the parts in making our learning activity sheets, no? So this one, yan. Gawain to, text to Venn, pamprosesong tanong. I know, expert na po tayo nito, but of course, nare-refresh lang natin because, as I said, these learning activity sheets ay napaka-importante po talaga, no? Okay. Gawain 4. And this one, reflection, references, and this is our answer key na nakabaliktad, and the writer. So those are the basic parts of making our learning activity sheets. So again, we'll make this learning activity sheets or LES more challenging, more exciting, more fun, and exciting. I hope that you have learned something special in making our learning activity sheets. Sana po nag-enjoy kayo at handa na sa panibagong hamon. We really need to embrace the new normal. Kay mao man ni atong gipili nga job, unsay atong gi-enter, ato adyo ning jabon. No? So by this, let us spread positivity, happy sharing, happy learning. I can, you can, together, para sa bata, para sa bayan. It's more fun in ARPAN, Laban. Thank you so much and have a blessed good afternoon to all of us.
Thank you so much, Sir Al Pastor of Midsalip National High School, Master Teacher 1, for a very profound discussion about activity sheets.
And now we are almost to end our first day of this virtual training. But before that, we will be hearing some news, some reminders, as well as a presentation of the schedules for this training or series of trainings for Araling Panlipunan. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming again our very own education program supervisor for Araling Panlipunan, Dr. Alma Lapot Carbonilla. Good afternoon again, my dear ka-ARPAN na ARPAN. I am back to discuss with you our outputs. Supposedly, Dr. Norlin Sundo will come in. However, she had a difficulty in getting inside our virtual room. So we will now discuss things about how are we going to produce, compile, and develop the materials expected of us in this training. So let me show to you this program management team. This is the program management team. Okay, as you can see, in this 3-day virtual training on the preparation of activity worksheets, production of compilation of alternative delivery modes, SLMs, the RBIs, TVBI materials to ensure quality learning in Araling Panlipunan, English, Filipino, Science, and Math for grades 7 to 10 learners. These are the people behind our training. For the preparation of platform and link, the people assisting us are the following. Of course, our ITO, Chester Don E. Bayukot. Assisting us is also another IT office in the office of the IT, Mr. John Ray M. Flores, and Isar Binabasca. Ito yung mga gwapong mga kabataan nandito sa tabi namin ngayon, making this YouTube live event possible for everybody. Our on-site training in charge are Muhammad Rindo, Alpha Kimberly Suarez, Abal Alan Paliro, Asia Phil Binongo. Of course, we also have, I cannot move. We also have Precious and Briva, Norlin, Gay, and of course, yours truly, Alma Carbonilla. For the online protocol, of course, kanina binasa na yan, documentation in charge, the program design, and the program host, Kimberly Suarez. I read this to you and discuss this with you because we are expecting you to craft, develop, and produce modules which are not yet on hand, and attached to them will be activity sheets, modules, RBIs, and TVBIs. We, in this group, divided the people who will compile, organize, develop, and produce these ADM materials. Walang kukurap, babasahin ko na, kaya nga binasa ko yung mga people behind this activity so that you will know your roles and functions in this training. Okay. For grade 7, for our module consolidators, at the same time, I call you grade level chairperson because it's already attached or enclosure of division memo number 183. Balikan natin yun, no? This is an attached memorandum of division or division memorandum number 183, series of 2021. Therefore, you can use this in terms of promotions when you are asking for special chairmanship to any activity in the department. Since this is a memorandum, you can use this as a file. Look at this. Grade 7, we have Sarah Hilot for modules. Grade 8, Al Pastor as the chair. Grade 9, Kimberly Claire Suarez. Grade 10, Muhammad Rindo. Grade 11, Noemi Santillan. And grade 12, Jovi Mustafa. We will have a separate training for grades 11 and 12. Although I already placed that names, added your name so that you will not be having a difficulty in having a separate memorandum with our senior high school. For the RBI consolidators, grade level chairperson to collect, to compile, and of course, to develop if ever hindi pa siya available, nawala. Cut lang sa.
Okay, we're back. Sorry for that glitches. Okay, let me again review for our RBIs, radio-based instruction consolidators, and grade level chairperson. For grade 7 is with Dexter Jess Dagoman. I hope you are listening, Dexter. Grade 8 is Vicenta Pocot. Grade 9 is Juan Duarte. Grade 10, Carlito Daguhoy. Grade 11, Melanie Simpin. And grade 12, Precious Ann Breva. As all of you are the chairperson. For grade 12 TVBI, consolidators, developers, and chairperson in the development of the TVBIs, we have for grade 7, Dorisa Kunting. Grade 8, Claire Lagrosa. Grade 9, Ariadne Simborio. Grade 10, Clarissa Joy Bigaray. And grade 11, Syra Marie Serencio. And grade 12, Juna Chris Basis. In the compilation of activity sheets, moreover, our consolidators and grade level chairperson are the following. Okay. For our activity sheets, let's start for grade 7 consolidators. Melanie Simpin is the chair. Grade 8, Joven Maicon as the chair. Grade 9, Maria Angelica Ipanto. Grade 10, Asia Phil Binongo. Grade 11, Delfino Crisanto. And grade 12, Josephine B. Dular. These are the people that we expect to assess right now what are the available central office modules at hand. Please scout or search out any possible materials. If you are a module consolidator, compile all the modules of the central office if there are available. If not, wala pang central office modules. Therefore, that's the time that we will decide to craft locally developed modules. But I expect meron na po yan as of the moment. Priority natin yung central office modules. Kung wala, saka tayo gagawa. And then from these modules that we have prepared, papasok na ngayon yung paggawa natin ng RBIs. You are going to retrieve the RBIs that we have made in the first grading. Ang walang RBI lang po is second grading. Meron na naman tayo sa third grading for sure, and fourth grading ang wala. So, this is a challenge to our RBI developers. And then, for the TVBIs, attached to this module, RBI and TVBIs, i-develop natin si activity sheets. So for the TVBI, same thing will happen with our RBI outputs in the first grading and in the third grading. Ang kulang lang po na sure tayong wala is in second grading and fourth grading. And then of course, activity sheets. Last Monday, we were in Chandler Suites for the MEPA of your supervisors. And as I sit down as panelist for our supervisors, I was saddened with the fact that our PSD says, pronounced that the number of worksheets at hand is only Filipino ata yung available, none for Araling Panlipunan. Kaya this is our challenge. Bakit zero ang worksheet for Araling Panlipunan? So napakalaking challenge po for grade 7, Melanie, Juven for grade 8, 9, grade 9, Angelica Ipanto, grade 10, Asia Phil, grade 11, Delfino, and grade 12, Josephine Dolar. Our chief strongly recommended we're going to compile all these materials. That is why we will be giving you in this training the budget for the procurement of flash drives. Parang 1 terabyte o 64 gig yung na-order. is a 64 gig flash drives in which doon natin ilagay yung grade 1, lahat ng grade 1 module, RBI, TVBI, and activity sheets. Grade 2 module, RBI, TVBI, activity sheets. Grade 3, grade 4, hanggang grade 12. Yun po yung pangarap natin, pangarap na kayang abutin. Yun po din yung dream ng ating chief. Kaya nga, Chief Juliet said, kailangan mabuo na yan, ibigay nyo na yung mga flash drives. Ko, saan ko kukunin yun? Handa na po yun. Handa natin para sa ating mga mahal na kaguro na ka-ARPAN. But this is all the same thing that happened in other subject areas. Pwede kayong magtanong, Ma'am, will these materials be needing accomplishment really for one day kasi ipapasa na after the training ends? Hindi po. Hindi kailangan na within this 3-day training, ma-realize lahat yung mga inadequacies, kakulangan ng ating mga materials. We will give you, I talked to the superintendent and the chief, sabi niya, pwede kahit 2 weeks. Kung ma'am, baka pwede pang 3 weeks. Pero sabi niya, gawin natin 2 weeks, baka may makatapos sa 1 week. Kasi alam na nila, meron na silang previous experience. Alam na nila kung anong gagawin, saan ako nagkulang, and they will be able to easily comply and produce this, having the experience in the past. So, 2 weeks po na gagawin natin yung compilation. So, meron lang tayong 1 day tomorrow. So, kaya nga, ang ating topics ngayon, isisiksik natin within the day so that tomorrow will just be purely everything about workshop. Workshop tomorrow. In case Ma'am Sundo or Norlin Sundo will not be able to make it this afternoon in this platform, we will create another Google Meet or another Microsoft Teams tomorrow, but not, of course, here in this production room. It shall be within our Google Meet in our homes as we are also preparing for the output. Preliminary ko lang doon kay Ma'am Norlin Sundo, it is about balik kasaysayan. Yung topic niya is all about balik kasaysayan. What is balik kasaysayan? It is about looking back to our local history. Because Araling Panlipunan, we always talk about kasaysayan ng Luzon, kasaysayan ng Visayas. Wala man lang kasaysayan ng Mindanao. Kaya nga, sina-challenge tayo, hinikayat tayo na magkaroon ng local history. Kaya yung balik kasaysayan na topic ni Ma'am Norlin will be all about how are we going to take captures all those local history within the barangay. Those local history might just include dati yung municipality ay dito sa lungsod na to. Dahil sa baha na ilipat dito sa barangay na ito. Sa ngayon, ang napakalaking syudad na ngayon ay ito ng lugar na ito. Yung mayor na napatay, siya yung pasimuno ng lahat ng progress ng lungsod na ito. Ito ngayon ay itinayo bilang paalala or remembrance of that very good mayor. Mga ganyang bagay. That is why in my plan for Araling Panlipunan, because before we are able to experience and appreciate other history of the past, yung mga malalaking history, at least meron tayong local history. Ito yung topic ni Ma'am Norlin Sundo na hopefully makakapasok siya. Wala ba talaga mga Mar? Si Ma'am Norlin. If hindi talaga siya makapasok, tomorrow shall be our Google Meet just for that last topic, which is the balik kasaysayan. Okay, so after that we are able to appreciate our own local municipality, we shall travel to another municipality and then travel to another municipality. So that in grade 3, as we are naming all the municipalities of Zamboanga del Sur, malalaman nyo na. Alam nyo na, kahit bali-baliktarin nyo yung mga tanong kung anong municipality sa unahan ng Pitugo, wala na. Or dito to sa the left is tabi na. Alam mo because nandun ka. You have experienced the thing. Therefore, after having experienced those, siguro ilalawak, i-widen natin yung ating coverage of our studying our local history by traveling around Region 9. Because we are supposed to study our own region even in grade 3. Alam natin na grade 1 is ako at ang aking pamilya. Pag naging grade 2, ako at ang aking komunidad. Yun yung sentro ng usapin, ako at ang aking komunidad. So, knowing the local history, yun yung sa grade 2. Ang grade 3 natin is ako at ang aking rehiyon. Now, how can we speak about our own region if we ourselves have not taken a bit of that scenario? We have not experienced having landed in Zamboanga del Norte or in Pagadi or in Dipolog or in Dapitan City. We can only give what we already have. You can never give what you never have. Therefore, Balik Kasaysayan is one way of bringing you back to the reality that we have our local history and we cannot afford to just forget all this study and focus on studying people of Luzon, Visayas, and not even mentioning Mindanao. Yun po yun. So because of this na siniksik natin yung ating mga oras kasi nga may gagamit na naman sa production room nito. Kasi supposedly gagamitin ito ni Ma'am Glenn Saison for the senior high school. Kailangan matapos tayo ngayon, tapusin natin to. Paki-flash doon sa paki-flash doon sa yung schedule. Okay? Pag-usapan natin yung schedules, yung PowerPoint. Okay. This 3-day training, gawin natin na lahat ng discussions about your outputs will be done today. Para tomorrow will purely be workshop. Our presenter for the workshop on our presentation of outputs for Araling Panlipunan will be Bridget Ann Masicampo, in which ang magpipresent na niyan is Biton Garay. Anong pangalan ni Miss Biton? I'm not sure. Basta it's from Mrs. Nakalimutan ko. Basta Mrs. Garay siya ang magpipresent tomorrow on Wednesday, on Friday, our output for this activity sheet. At gusto niya ang ipipresent niya is activity sheet. Yun yung ating i-correct at titingnan. Okay. I will just present to you and just be transparent with you what will happen in the next 2 days that will come. Today is August 25. Tomorrow is August 26, which is, wala tayong session dito kasi nag-workshop na tayo. O yun, yung mga workshop na gagawin nyo ha, ni-remind ko na kayo that you are going to assess, compile lahat ng mga resources para ilagay natin sa isang flash drive. Yung flash drive ninyo, I'm sorry to tell you nga pala, that ongoing po yung purchasing, hindi na ihabol. Anyway, wala pa naman po kayong nagawa. Lalabas naman yun within this week. Hindi yun siya lalagpas ng isang buwan. So, sakto lang na pag natapos na kayo ng inyong mga outputs, saka na natin yun gamitin yung inyong mga flash drives. Okay? So, tomorrow is everybody will be on workshop, pero first hour in the morning at 8:30, papasok tayo for the Balik Kasaysayan ni Norlin Sondo. Please prepare the Google Meet Teams. August 27, which is Friday, take note, the batch 1 secondary kayo po yun will end. Mag-start kayo at 9 o'clock since at 8 o'clock, nasa opening program po kami sa batch 2 ng secondary. Dito po kami sa production room. Klaro. Sa Friday, nandito kami sa room na to open the batch 2 of this same training. Well, kayo po, maghintay lang muna doon sa Microsoft Teams na gagawin namin ni Kim para po doon natin pag-usapan yung inyong presentation sa output immediately after the presentation of the output, critiquing closing program pagkatapos. So while nagko-closing program si batch 1, opening program kami dito sa production room ng batch 2. Pagka August 30, which is Monday, is a holiday. Kaya nga isiksik na naman natin lahat ng topic for batch 2 in just one day to make sure na walang nakaligtaan because August 30, nobody will be reporting in this production room. Of course, we cannot also afford to let them duty just for this purpose. So, declare natin na lahat ng oras na yan will be a workshop. But I will open a Microsoft Teams for the discussion of as part of the workshop. Therefore, kahit naka-workshop kayo, open yung Microsoft Teams para every now and then pwede kayong mag-come in, magtanong, whatever. Para makonsider pa rin na nandun pa rin kayo actively having our training. And August 31 will be the closing program and presentation of batch 2 outputs. Kita niyo, 27, opening. 30, holiday. 31, closing program. And then, tapos na yan, si batch 2 sa 31. Walang conflict si 31. Pero, pagka September 1, is the opening na naman of the training on quality assurance for elementary and secondary batch 1. Ito na yon na attach tayo doon sa 5 na namang subject areas. The training is September 1 to 3. Tapusin na naman natin yung mga topic hopefully in September 1 day. If hindi siya matapos, gagawa na lang tayo ng separate na Microsoft Teams, online na lang tayo kasi gagamitin ang September 2 ng itong production room, gamitin ng senior high school. Kaya lalabas tayo, kung hindi natin maisiksik sa isang araw yung dito kayo lahat nag-speak, we will do the continuation of the training outside of this production room. Babalik na naman tayo pag September 3, but not anymore in this room, continue na rin pa rin tayo doon sa ating Microsoft Teams for the presentation of outputs and closing program of the QA batch 1. Next slide, please. And then, September, the training for the elementary will start. Alam natin na September 6, 7, 8 is that training period for the elementary. Isang batch lang yun. Hindi ko na ginawang batch 1, batch 2. Anyway, maipasok naman lahat sa Microsoft Teams and sa YouTube live event. So September 6, opening program ng elementary training. September 7 is opening na naman yan ng batch 2 sa QA. So while nag-opening sa September 6, ang September 7 na second day, workshop na yan ng elementary. So therefore, babalik na naman tayo doon sa ating Microsoft Teams, not anymore in this audio room, doon na lang for the presentation of outputs. And of course, closing program. I hope naintindihan nyo ang mga bagong kaganapan kasi yun po yung ating iniwasan sana, kaya lang may mga facilitators na hindi talaga available due to the fact that na maraming mga intervention, may mga nagkakasakit, no? Ayun yung mga problema natin, so we cannot avoid. But have to face the challenge that everything is inevitable. We are supposed to adjust and cope whatever that we can do. Okay, so I hope na linawan po tayo, wala nang tanong. What's the time? It's just on time for our balik kasaysayan sana. Okay, just to make some discussions o balik kasaysayan, additional lang po. During the balik kasaysayan, this is just purely on discussion how the local history of the municipality will be considered essential. I will try to pause for a while and look for the file of my balik kasaysayan because if I can possibly give the topic, I will do it on my own. Ina si Norlin forward sa ako ang balik sa science files. I'm back, mga kapatid, mga anak, at mga kapuso. In behalf of Norlin Sundo, where I sent Norlin Sundo to Leyte for the purpose of having this balikasaysayan and study the historical places of Visayas. Samar and Leyte yung inikot ni Norlin. Habang ako naman, ang pinuntahan kong historical place is Vigan and Dagupan City. Yun yung inikot namin. Luzon din naman ako naka-assign. Therefore, in behalf of Norlin, I can also speak in behalf of writing a travelogue. Okay, balik kasaysayan is still in 2018. Writing a travelogue. Balik kasaysayan or travelogue. Okay. What is a travelogue? Tanong. Nagta-travel with a dialogue. You know, travel plus dialogue is a travelogue. It is a truthful account of an individual's experiences, traveling usually told in the past tense and in the first person. Bakit kailangan past tense? Kasi nangyari na. Matagal ng panahon na nangyari na. Binigyang buhay lang natin as a teacher. Okay, in the first person, hindi siya nag-move. Okay. The how of it in the travelogue. So anong gagawin natin sa paggawa ng travelogue? Ibig sabihin, nag-field trip na tayo. Handa na yung ating mga gamit to capture. May camera na tayo. May ballpen at papel. So ito ang gagawin natin. Step 1 of the travelogue. Decide on the types of travelogue that you will write. Anong klaseng travelogue ang isusulat ko? Is it about history of people, history of the place, development of a certain program? Anong klaseng travelogue ang gagawin ko? Next slide, please. Okay? After deciding what to do, you also, of course, have to identify what are the types of travelogue. My paper travelogue, my PowerPoint travelogue, my virtual travelogue, or we call it in the web, and poster travelogue. Paper travelogue is about writing like mura siya journal, parang journal. As you travel, nagpipicture ka, you capture the picture and then ginawan mo siya ng storya. Mga storyang may kwenta. Mga kwentong may kwenta. Or mga kwenta ng isang kwento. Ano ba yun? Basta ba, may mga kwentong may kwenta. If you happen to pass by a certain historical event, that's why kung gusto mo gumawa ng travelogue, of course, nag-i-interview ka. Anong nangyari dito? Ano ba ang pinaka mahalagang pangyayari na for you is important. Igawa mo yan na para siyang 2-page or 3-page na journal. Okay. For example, sa sample lang. When I come to visit to bayog, balik lang muna, Sar. Okay? Ay, sample lang muna tayo. One step lang. Atras. Okay, yan lang. So, yung types nga, ulitin natin, paper travelogue, PowerPoint travelogue. So, kung paper, document yung babasahin. Para siyang journal. But kung PowerPoint travelogue, yun na. Travelogue na ipinapakita lang natin sa PowerPoint, sa TV, whatever. Kung virtual naman na travelogue, nasa web, nagsasalita ka parang TVBI. Kung poster travelogue naman, nakalagay siya sa isang poster, nandun yung mga picture, nandun yung description ng inyong travelogue. Yung dialogue of whatever travels that you have done. Next, please. So, after deciding kung I will opt to prepare a paper travelogue, decided ka na nga paper travelogue, prepare camera. Of course, everything that you need to prepare. And then step, read itinerary and decide on the focus of your travelogue. Basahin mo kung ano yung itinerary mo, saan ako pupunta, saan ang pupuntahan ko, saan ba ang pinakamahalagang pangyayari na naganap. And decide on the focus of your travelogue. Is it about governance? Is it about historical places? Is it about the culture of the Filipino, of the natives of that place? Okay, that's our step 2. Step 3. Research about your topic by finding information, taking notes, jotting down notes, and taking pictures. Yung ating pagkalakwatsyera at lakwatsero magagamit dito sa paggagawa natin ng travelogue. Hopefully, hindi muna natin gagawin si travelogue by now as we are restricted to move. We are being stationed, not to move, no? Not to move. So, balik kasaysayan is not yet possible for us. But when time comes that God will really stop all these menace, we will go back with our normal life. Magiging new na yung normal. Bahala na si Lord. We will do our step 3. You are going to research your topic by finding information, taking notes, jotting down ideas, and taking pictures, of course. So, parang naglakwat siya ka nga lang, nag-ikot-ikot ka lang. Yung pagiging vlogger mo, whatever, mapapakinabangan dito sa travelogue. Then look at sample travelogues. May mga sample papakita namin. Compare mo na kaagad kung paano mo i-organize yung sayo. Then step 5, write your own travelogue. Start scribbling and scribbling. Dagdag mo na yung picture mo, patagilid ba yung picture mo, dito ka na tayo. Pero remember, kapag if you are writing on a travelogue, do not ever include your face. Yun yung pinaka-no-no in writing a travelogue. Wag na ikaw yung nakaganyan doon, post na ka ng post just to give a story of that mountain, whatever. A travelogue should not show people's faces. Walang tao. Kung may tao man, nakatalikod siya. Wala, hindi mo makikita. Kasi magiging documentation yon, magiging document yon. And then, kapag nakita mo yung mukha ng isang tao, nakita mo yung mukha mo doon, hindi ka nagpaalam, pwede kang i-sampa. No? Okay. So, next step, decide on the types of travelogue you will write. Read the itinerary and decide on the focus of your travelogue. Research about your topic by finding information, taking notes. Look at some travelogues and write your own travelogue. Finally, on writing the travelogue, considering now that you are having on hand now are the pictures and the notes and the ideas and the information that you have gathered on your travel. You are now ready to write your travelogue. Start. What is a good travel writing? It should be informative, entertaining, honest, and inspiring. Ulitin natin, dapat yung travel mo, yung good travel mo should be informative yung sinulat mo, entertaining of course, hindi siya boring, totoo, honest siya, baka binublow up mo lang yung storya para gumanda, hindi dapat. Kung talagang nakakaantig sa puso yung ending doon, let it be, no? And then it should be inspiring. The writing process plan. First, you are going to determine the purpose. Para saan itong Travelogue ko? Number 2, take notes or record events and conversations. Then, collect brochures, maps, and you are going to take pictures and review notes and pictures. Then, of course, make outline. The outline will include historical and cultural background. Right? Sapaanding, Barangay Sapaanding is a place named after Mr. Anding na nakatuyo, na nakatira sa tabi ng sapa. Baka ganun yung historical background niya. No? The atmosphere of the place. Ano yung atmosphere? The humor of the story behind the place. And then write the content. Let's move to the next travel writing toolkit. First, be detailed and specific. Detail is what transports the reader to the destination. You need to paint a picture of the place in their mind. And this is now our sample travelogue. Ito ang isla ng Corregidor. At tingnan mo yung setup. Hindi talaga Mindanao, no? Walang Mindanao. Puro Luzon yan. Ang Corregidor is nasa, ano ba yan? Bulacan ba si Corregidor? Tingnan natin. Puerto Galera, mga ganyan. Tayo na sa isla ng Corregidor at balikan ang nanahimik na mga armas at artillerya na dati sing-init ng bulkan ang pagbuga. Yun, mabulaklak, no? Flowery yung words. Sing-init ng bulkan ang pagbuga, tulad din ng nooy bulkang Corregidor, puerto na naging sandigan at simbolo ng tapang at adhikain ng bansa na maging malaya. Ngayon, yung travelogue nyo dapat catching yung mga words na ginamit. And then, dapat attractive yung words. Bakit nakaka-attract siya? Kakaiba yung dating niya. Ayun. Sige. Use all your senses. Remember, your sight, your smell, your touch, hearing, and taste are essential elements in writing a travelogue. Pakinggan mo, pakiramdaman mo, namnamin mo, lahat yun, gawin mo para you will be able to feel and let the readers feel what you feel. Taste what you taste. Yan mga ganyan. Then, in travel writing toolkit, we have the following. Masarap ang pagkain natin. Ito yung concept, no? Kanina, it's all about beautiful spots in a place of Corregidor. Now, about food. Masarap ang pagkain natin. Sample yan. Hayaang busugin ng ating mga tiyan ng maalat-alat na pinakbet ng Ilocos. Umuusok na binakol ng Iloilo, maanghang na laing ng Bicol, kumahalimuyak na kanin mula sa bulubundukin ng Bukidnon, at hagurin ang ating mga lalamunan ng panghimagas na durian at pumelo ng Davao, na sinamahan ng manamis-namis na lambanog ng Quezon at pagdakay mainit at matapang na kapeng barako ng Batangas. Di ba? Ang ganda pakinggan, ang parang humahalimuyak na kanin. Para na rin na-smell natin yung kung gaano kasarap yung smell ng kanin ng bulubundukin ng Bukidnon. Umuusok na binakol ng Iloilo, yung pinakbet ng Ilocos. It's just adjective, the words that describes the thing that that of your focus is the thing that you are making the people have a taste and a bit of what you have experienced. Yun, sarap ng pagkain natin. Kaya natin yan, mga kapatid. Kaya yan, basta ARPAN. No? Okay. Travel writing toolkit include characters and dialogue, locals, other travelers, and historical figures. Another, avoid cliches. Tired, overused expressions that have lost their descriptive power. Yung sobra namang mabulaklak na nawala na tuloy yung sobrang kaartihan, Wag naman yung ganung mga glitches na yan na parang nakakaumay. Yung nakakaumay naman siya kung pakinggan. Mas tingnan natin. Show, don't tell. Na parang in just your word, parang naipakita mo. No? Naipakita mo in just your word. Okay. Ito, isang type ng Travelogue. Travel Writing Toolkit. Ito, isa. Biyaheng vegan tayo ngayon. Busugin ang ating mga pandama sa mga obra ng pinagsamang Hispaniko at Asyanong kultura at arkitektura na pinatibay at pinag-ingatang tulad isang yamang di matitibag ng panahon. Halina't baybayin ang katedral ng Bigan, mag-iwan ng mga yapak sa batong lansangan ng Plaza Salcedo at Plaza Burgos. Yan, mga Bigan po yan. Napuntahan talaga namin yan. Pati yung mga lugar ng yung mga tirad pass, inakyat namin yon in our journey to be able to write our own travelogue. Yun. Kaya kami pong tatlo, si Alan Caballero, Norlin Sondo, and myself, we're going to the different places, historical places. Kaya yun po, kami lang po yung may alam dito. Kaya gusto naming ipaalam sa inyo, hopefully kahit grade 1 teacher, makakabuo ka ng iyong travelogue. Pag may picture na yan, ng itsura ng Bigan, kasi yung pinaka-historical and prominenting statue, na ba yan? Yung landmark na Bigan ay yung Kalye Crisologo. Ngayon, lansangan ng Plaza Salcedo at Plaza Burgos. Bigan ang pinag-usapan yan. Another sample para mas madaling isip na itong maintindihan. Kalakip ng bato-batong daraanan ang mukha ng kulturang masisilayan sa mga produktong tulad ng Bornay at pagkain tulad ng umuusok na sinanglaw. Alam niyo ba yung sinanglaw? Nakain ko lang yung sinanglaw na yan when I was in Albay. In the Mount Mayon, may sinanglaw doon. Mga museo, marami niyan dito, gaya ng museo ng Crisologo, nga di nga katakatakang ang Bigan ay nasa tala ng World Heritage Center. Sinanglaw is another specialty of the Bigan people. Okay. Another sample, makulay ang kasaysayan ng Leyte, dating pinanirahan ng mga Mayrete na komunidad sa pamumuno ni Dato Ite. Panirahan ng indigenous animist na mga Waray, unang pinagdaungan ng mananakop ng mga Espanyol sa pamumuno ni Magellan, pinangyarihan ng pagbawi ng Pilipinas sa mga kamay ng mga Hapones noong ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Diba? Parang dinala tayo niya sa panahon ng digmaan, yung World War pa po. Kung anong kailan yon yung pagdating pa po ni Magellan. And we feel, just because of that delivery of a travelogue, ibinalik niya tayo sa dekadang panahon ng nakalipas. Another, sinabi ni Douglas MacArthur, nagbalik ako, maaaring sumagot ang mga Hapones ng di pa tayo tapos. Sa loob ng 4 na araw, nangyari ang labanan sa Gulpo ng Leyte, pinakamatagal sa labanan sa karagatan, sa kasaysayan. Yun po, mga sample po yun. Sana po ay naibigan nyo at na-appreciate ninyo, nagustuhan nyo yung mga ganong mga pananalita na nailagay po sa isang konteksto. And once na isulat yan sa isang papel, magiging makabuluhan na yan na pwedeng basahin ng mga bata na nakaposter, nakalagay sa isang sulok, and then they will be able to appreciate our own history. Kung kayo na po yung tanungin ko, kung kayo na yung gagawa ng history, anong mangyayari? Doon tayo pupunta sa Lakeview Resort. Dati ang Lakeview Resort ay ganito. Anong nangyari ngayon? Pwedeng mga ganitong bagay. Ang Lake Maragang, ganito. Kulay, siya? Korting puso si Lake Maragang. Depende nyo na yun sa kung paano nyo pagandahin yung inyong travelogue. Okay. Finally, the writing process. We are now in the writing process. Bigyan ko kayo ng sample kanina. First, are going to edit according to the syntax, the grammar, the tenses, and the spelling. Kasi kapag na-publish na yan, wrong yung grammar, wrong yung syntax, ang tenses, wrong pa yung spelling, magiging mukhang katawa-tawa naman yung gawa natin. Yan po. Iwasan natin yun na maging katawa-tawa. After all, it will reflect who we are and it will tell the people who we are. Pwedeng marami kang alam, pwedeng magaling ka, pero hindi ka naman careful. In Visayan, sinabi natin yun, danghag ka naman. O yun yung iniwasan natin. Now, on taking pictures, ito importante din. On taking pictures, it is important not just to take pictures akong basta lang, no? Basta lang. Meron tayong rule in taking pictures when it talks about a travelogue. Ito. Travel photography tips. First, you are going include people, pero wag siyang nakaharap. Tingnan nyo, nakatalikod lang. Yung people na nakaharap, estatwa naman yun, hindi naman yun siya taong totoo. Nakatalikod nga lang. Or nakaharap siya, pero hindi siya nakatingin sa'yo. Yun. Pero you are going to ask permission. Para siyang stolen shots. Huwag talaga yung nagpo-posing ka na parang yung ginawa mo na yung pinaka-sexy mong pose. Hindi pwede. You are at work. You are mobile. No? Yun yung rule doon. Bawal yung ganyan. Bawal yan. Pwede siyang ganyan because you are featuring the beautiful spots, shall we say, in Palawan. If you have traveled to Coron or in El Nido, pwedeng ganyan, pero tingnan nyo, bakit okay lang siyang gamitin? Hindi po lantad yung kanyang mukha. Nakatakip. Yung mga mata, talagang nakakover. Yun yung pansinin nyo, no? So, pwede basta hindi masyadong halata kung sino ka. Okay. Ito yung pinaka-importante. Use the rule of thirds. In taking pictures, ito, not just in Travelogue, but to everybody, no? In all the pictures that we're to take. May rule yan kung kukuha tayo ng picture. We call it the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds says that if ito yung subject mo, yung gitna, ito halimbawa yung naka-red na yan yung gitna, yan yung focus mo, hindi siya dapat pinakagitna or yung dapat may yung third part of that, nasa gilid siya or nasa basta third part. So kung your focus is about a person na nakatalikod or nakadapa yung tao, use the rule of thirds. Okay, nasa third part. O, tingnan mo, yan na yung sample. Sample ng travel photography tips. Saan nakalagay yung subject? Nasa 1/3 of pinaka-center, the center of your photography. Yun daw yung purpose doon na hindi siya nasa pinakagitna but it gives spaces on the other side. Yun, tingnan nyo, yung stone. O, now, knowing that ito pala yung kapag may photography, tingnan mo yung rule of thirds. Kapag nagpa-picture kayo, 1/3 of that doon ka tatayo. Yan ang rule of thirds. To give, kasi yung ating focus dyan ay yung rock, no? And then, if that's the rock, that is our focus, 1/3 of that, of the entire picture, doon mo ilagay yung inyong subject. Okay. Another tip, put something on the foreground. Ayun, na may foreground, oh. May nakalagay bang mga bangka, yung mga bangka niya, or kaya doon sa pinakalayo, may mga ano kayo, may mga picture na something that is attractive and then attractive doon yung nasa harap. Ayun, ano ang foreground dito? Yung puting sand at pati yung mga rocks na black. Ayun. Sige, put something on your foreground. Ayun, ano ang foreground diyan? The food, no? Yung the food niya, and then yung attraction is nasa pinaka unahan talaga. And then the view is nandun sa unahan. People will appreciate here while most often yung malayo yung tingin mo, mas maganda yung nasa malayo. Another, fill the frame. Fill the frame. Minsan yung frame na yon, halimbawa may bilog na frame. Dito yung subject mo nakatayo. Pag nagpicture ka dito, para siya nasa loob ng circle. Yan yon, no? That's what we call fill the frame. lahat yung frame na yan may laman. Okay. Yan, fill the frame. Balance yan. O, pwede naman ganyan. May rule din na pwedeng you are balancing all the frames of the picture filled with the subjects of your study. Or another is use a frame. Iba yung build a frame, punuin mo yung frame ng larawan. Dito naman, use a frame. So if you have visited yung Dahilayan Adventure, may frame doon na nakatayo na empty. Papasok ka sa loob and then para ka nang nasa loob ng picture frame. Ayun. O kaya may isang malaking triangle na kaganyan, dito ka nagpicture so para kang nasa loob ng isang triangle. Use a frame. Ayan, parang bilog na yan. And then dito ka nagpicture para na siyang nasa inside sa isang frame. Or kaya isang temple na yung opening niya naka-curve, nasa loob, sa likod ka, yon. You are using that frame. Ayan, frame din yan. Next, travel photography tips. You may include people, but not of course na nakaharap sa'yo yung mukha. Not of course na nakatingin sa'yo. Not of course na nakaharap na bare talaga yung mukha na nakasmile at nakapokus siya. Hindi. Pwedeng nakasigilid, pwedeng nakatalikod, pwedeng naka-eyeglasses, whatever. And then use the rule of thirds, put something on the foreground, fill the frame, and use a frame. Yay! In summary, what is a good travel writing? Be informative, and honest, entertaining, and inspiring. Everything should be inspiring. The writing process is plan, write, and edit. And in the travel writing toolkit, be detailed and specific, use all your senses, include characters, avoid cliches, and show, don't tell. Show mo through your words. Then the travel photography tips include people, use the rule of thirds, put something in the foreground or fill frame, and use a frame. Okay. The paper size is used to be A4. The margins, 1 inch all sides. The font size, non-specified, readable, for as long as it is readable. The size heads, no more than 24 points. Body text is 12 points. Captions is 12 points and italics. The color is black lang po. Pwede namang ang text ay black lang. Ang picture na po yung colored. Maximum size is half page. Pwedeng nakapupi yung isang bond paper na A4. Number of pages, hindi naman po specified for as long as kung gaano kadami yung pages ng inyong Travelogue. Specifications for the PPP. Font. Travelogue yan. Choose a non-serif font. Ayan. Use 24 point and above font size. Alam niyo na yan. Alam niyo color for the headings. Vary sizes and styles of fonts for subheadings and captions. Pwede naman palakihin konti yung heading, then smaller konti si subheading, basta black lang yung text. Okay. Limit the number of fonts to 4. So, kung in just one Travelogue, huwag masyadong lahat, paiba-iba yung font. May American ka, ano ba, may ano ba yun, Gothic style, limit only to 4. That's very important. Huwag mag-italicize ng word. No abbreviations and acronyms. Completely spell out kung ano ang gusto mong iparating. And then reverse text or use a light color text for a dark background. Okay. So, finally, in your design, create a simple design template. Make similar colors and styles. And use colors that contrast and complement and keep the background consistent and subtle. Use a single style of dingbat for bullets. Yung mga bullets nyo, yan lang, single style lang. Make images all the same sizes. So, lahat ng images, if possible, pare-pare yung size niya. Then limit the number of graphical images on each slide. Huwag masyadong maraming graphical images sa bawat slide ng inyong Travelogue. And try to use the same style graphical image throughout the presentation. Your color, limit the number of colors on a single screen and use contrasting colors properly and reverse text for dark background. Bright colors make small objects and thin lines stand out. Yun, dapat stand out yung mga lines nyo. Some vibrant colors are difficult to read when projected. Kung masyado yung neon colors, hindi yan siya masyadong magandang tingnan. Minsan, hindi na siya readable. Use no more than 4 colors on one chart. Take note, huwag masyadong colorful. 4 na colors lang in one chart. Or 4 na font styles in one Travelogue. Maximum of 4 lang. Isipin nyo yan. Check all colors on a projection screen. And then, ano yan? Pag ganyang picture, anong nangyari dyan? Is it, you give a picture on the front, for background? Yun, parang for background yun kasi may tao dito sa bandang unahan. Ayun, may mga objects sa bandang unahan. Okay, yan. Rule of thirds yan. Sample yan. Ano yan? That is a picture using the principle, the rule of thirds. Nasa 1/3 ng part of your picture ang inyong subject. Another sample. Yan, anong sample yan? Anong sample? Sino makasagot? Hindi niyo masagot kasi malayo kayo sa akin. Yun po yung use of frame. Parang ginawa mong frame yung bagay dito sa harap. Okay. And then, yan, fill the frame. Yan siya, fill the frame. And then, of course, yan, fill the frame pa rin yan. Ano yan? Yung you are using people. Use people. Basta hindi lang siya buhay. Kung buhay man, nakatago siya. Ayan. Ano yan? Pwede siyang rule of thirds, pero you are also making use of that kamay. No? Parang pinaliit niyo siya, pero pinofocus niyo siya. Pwede natin gawin yung for background. No? For background. Ito, fill the frame, kasi nasa gitna siya. And then, the beginnings of most undertakings are often difficult. Ano yan? It is, yung larawan na yan, ang daming pwedeng nangyayari dyan. Pwedeng ang storya is may nahulog na kontraktor habang yung engineer umakyat, nahulog. Mga ganyang storya. Sino-sino ang nag-construct? Nalugi ang kontraktor. Mga ganyan. Pwede yan. Ang dami yan. Yun yung mga ito. Finally, we are going to give you sample travelogues and brochures, or brochures ang tawag doon. And then, hopefully you will appreciate. Yan. Isa to sa mga gawa namin. No? Kami yung gumagawa niyan. Prince Rupert. Yan, British Columbia, Canada Free Map, ito. Ang focus niya, ayun, yung picture na yan, nasa rule of thirds, fill the frame. Okay, yan, mga ganyan. Storya, mga kwentong may kwenta. Yon, ang ibig sabihin doon. Yan, another travelogue. Yan, mga larawan, no? Tingnan mo, walang tao na nakaharap, walay tao na nakaposing in your own. Yan, school camp sorted, welcome to Mercury Bay. Gawa yan ng mga teachers. May contest kasi yan in making a travelogue. Yan. Gawa-gawa namin yan. I don't know kung naisama yung sa akin. Hindi siguro naisama ni Norlene. The Canterbury Crimson Trail. Depende na yan sa paggawa mo ng storya talaga. Okay? And then sample yan. Explore Waitomo. And that is our references. Sample yan. Sample. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for bearing with me. I thank you, Norlene Sundo, for preparing the slides. And then thank you so much for your indulgence. And I hope na kita-kits na naman tayo. The batch 2 shall start on Friday. Another Balik Kasaysayan, but hopefully Norlene will be around by that time. Thank you so much and mabuhay po mga ka-ARPAN.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our session for the first day of this virtual training in Aralingpan, Lipunan, and other learning areas. And we were able to discuss various important and significant topics, especially in the preparation and writing of modules. We also have topic on the writing and preparation and basic principles of RBI, the basic principles of TVBI, and we also have topic on the preparation of learning activity sheets or worksheets. And lastly, we were able to be enlightened with the topics on balik kasaysayan or on how to make travelogue.
We do hope to see you again tomorrow for more meaningful and fruitful session that will surely help your endeavor in crafting modules, RBIs, TVBIs, and even worksheets.
And for our virtual evaluation link, it will be posted as early as we will be able to contact our very own SEPs for monitoring and evaluation in the person of Dr. Arturo Antiquina Jr., our Division M&E Coordinator.
Thank you so much, our dear participants, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Goodbye and Godspeed.